You get into the next part of it, you're going to start it with ignition. When you turn ignition on, it goes through prove out. Wait 10 seconds. Let it go through prove out. We have some people that are always impatient. They go battery ignition start, and they wonder why sometimes they get what we call ghost codes with a symbol in there, like what the hell. And you turn the battery off and ignition back on and it goes away because you didn't give it time for prove out. Alright. In addition, once it's gone through prove out and you start it, this vehicle, all of your new vehicles by ISO, Insurance Services Organization, and NFPA rules, we have a vehicle data recorder, VDR. Everything you do with this fire truck, driving it, turn signals, brake lights, whether you got your seat belts on or not, there's an indicator in there for your seat belts. If you don't wear them, we got some people like to cheat. They think they can fasten a seat belt and then sit down and everything's cool. Nope, you're still going to have a red light and a warning because there's a sensor in the seat from when you sat on it compared to when you clicked it. It knows that. There's a reason they do that, because a lot of people, they don't like wearing seat belts. You go around the corner, inadvertently open the door, the guy falls out, gets hit by a semi that was going the other way, it's not a pretty picture, and now somebody, significant other, wants to sue the fire department for a couple $1 million because their person got killed. Now, if you're ever in an accident and there's an injury or a fatality, the highest authority police, in this case probably state police, they're going to come up and they're going to ask, where's the vehicle data connection on this truck? I'm the captain on this truck. You ain't touching my truck. Well, get ready, because he's going to put handcuffs on you and take you to jail. That's a felony. As much as if an airplane crashes and you go run over there and try to grab the black box and run away with it, that's a felony. Don't do that. We don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. Vehicle data recorders are mandated. Strong recommendation. Wear your seat belts. Do what you're supposed to. It's there to protect you. You've got to check. Some of these vehicles have airbag or rollover protection. I can verify if this one does or not. In any event, it's all there for safety. As far as getting to know the different switches, whether it be emergency lighting, DOT lighting, get to know where the stuff is. Your heating and air conditioning, get to know where it is. Sitting in the cab in the bay when you're not driving the truck, because the last thing you guys want to do is get out here on the damn road and then be looking around for where switches are, cross the center line or something, get involved in an accident. With these new vehicles, if you're involved in an accident and you got to go through all the paperwork and everything else, so strongly recommend that. As far as mentioned in the classroom, switching right here for putting the pump in gear. Right next to it is a foam system switch. I cannot emphasize this enough. You don't have to hit both switches. Our claim to fame in our marketing says one switch does everything. Push and hold the foam switch for 2 seconds, foam system comes on and the water pump goes into gear. If you don't want foam, just hit the water pump switch. Now, in the classroom I mentioned, battery on, ignition off, you will have an amber PCM fault light up there. Pump control module fault. If you do have battery on and ignition, which you would if the vehicle was running, now that light is out. But let's just say that it is running, you were in the cab, you put the pump, what the hell, you've got a PCM fault light. At that point, that's when you need to reach in here, open this door, red guarded switch, activate your pump clutch, and you'll have pressure to your pressure governor. Okay? Right now, notice that door didn't close. It's because I didn't turn that off. Okay, but it's theoretically possible for you to have that on, do that, you still didn't catch it. You did that, you get in the cab and you go start driving away. As you start shifting through the gears in your transmission automatically, your water pump is not disengaged. Overhead, you'd see pump pressure, 150, 160, 200 psi. What the hell? Yeah, your pump is still in gear. And if your normal practice is, when you're done, your tank valves are closed, but now your pump is turning, bad things are going to happen. So the override does not get used unless it's needed. How do you know you need it? That light was on with an audible warning telling you there's an issue. That's extremely rare that that happens. But we have to tell you about it because it has to be there per NFPA. All right? I didn't want to cover that.
It's basically a computer.
That's exactly what it is. It's a pump control module. What has happened in days gone by, somebody got hurt or killed. Could have been your typical shift lever, put it in gear, you go back, you start throttling up. Maybe you weren't aware that your pump shift cable was binding or something, and you didn't really get a shift. And it's actually in road mode. And you start twisting that throttle, you overpower the parking brake, and you... Now, in front of that truck was another vehicle. And some guy was sitting on the back of that other vehicle, and he got his damn legs cut off. That stuff has happened. So NFPA says, hey man, we got to stop this from happening. Now when they stop, it's automatically going to go to neutral. And if things aren't right, your throttle ain't going to work. You can't throttle up. Those are some safety things they designed into it. Okay? So, as far as putting this vehicle in gear, all of your other trucks were the normal split shaft transmission. You did that and you hit drive. If you put this pump in gear, and out of habit, you reach over and you hit D for drive and it goes into gear, you come back here, your throttle will not work. You can't throttle up. In fact, you'll have a green light right here that will not be on because something ain't right. You go back and I put it in gear, put it in neutral. Now I told you that when you set the parking brake, it defaults to neutral. But if you reach back and hit drive again, you can put it back into gear. But then your throttle won't work either. Okay. Again, I don't see you doing it. You could. If you're going to do pump and roll, right here we have where the pump shift lever is. You've got stationary, okay to pump, and rolling. You have a green light. If you've got parking brake on, neutral, you put the pump in gear, you're going to have a green light saying it's good to pump. If you release the parking brake, that green light will go off. When you put it in gear, the amber light will come on. Now you can pump and roll. At that point, foot throttle is the only thing you got. You can't have some cowboy back here riding shotgun and twisting the throttle to give you pump pressure because that throttle will not work. Okay, back in the day they did do that, trust me. Okay, now you use your brake to hold it back or something, or put it in neutral and you creep along and do what you're going to do. Very few people that have the pump and roll capability actually use it, but you can do it. That's where I was telling you in your shifter, just shift it all the way down to 1-1 where it cannot shift up. Okay, as soon as you start driving away, if you had forgot to turn the pump off, when it shifts to second gear, it disengages the pump. So it doesn't stay engaged unless you use the manual override. You guys, some of the other trucks, I believe you guys have been playing with emissions compliant engines for a while. You have diesel fuel, you have DEF. What is the department's position posturing on when do you refuel? 3/4 tank?
Right, 3/4.
You can do the same thing with a DEF. Okay? It's about a 3-to-1 ratio. Typically it's going to be 3 tanks of diesel fuel to 1 tank of DEF. It's a 4.5 gallon DEF tank. Be thankful that we have the standards we have. Currently over in China they're doing Euro 3 standards and they're doing a 1-to-1 ratio. We can't make it through pump tests without adding DEF on their trucks, and they've even gone to bigger DEF tanks. But we don't have that. We got 3-to-1. DEF, however you're getting it at the station, if they deliver fuel to you, the only thing you need to be concerned about is that the DEF that you're getting is a certified top quality DEF. There are some people that sell watered down crap. If you put that in your truck, the engine control module has sensors. If the DEF quality is outside parameters, it's going to trip a triangular symbol in there, and they go in with a laptop. Hey dude, your DEF is outside quality standards, and you'd have to siphon out and put in new DEF. Okay, but I don't think you guys have that issue. One issue you don't have here is freezing temperatures. The system is designed thermostatically controlled valve that takes engine coolant to a jacket around the DEF tank to keeps it at a certain temperature, because DEF will freeze like water in the wintertime. In cold regions they got to protect that. So as as far as getting to know the vehicle, knowing all your different controls in here, once the pump is in gear, you come back here, open your tank to pump, your tank fill, you can recirculate water. I'm going to talk about, and this is a question, right now I'm told that some of your other trucks have a pump boss, pressure governor. That's Fire Research. That's who makes that for us. This is programmable for 3 ways. It can default to no mode, which is what it currently is, or we can set it where it defaults to pressure mode or default to RPM mode. They told me that your pump boss, because that's standard from Fire Research, to default to pump mode, to pressure protection mode. I could do that on this too if they want. Okay, I'll ask and see what they want there. Right now, you put the pump in gear, you're going to come back here, push the mode, it's going to go to pressure mode. If you hit preset, right now we set it at 125. Talk to me. You have some pretty hot hydrant already, but set that aside. When you guys are using 75 psi nozzles on 100 or 200 foot or 250 foot hose lays, what pump pressure are you targeting to get 75 out at the other end?
115.
115?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to show you in the class when we talked about the pressure governor itself. There is a learning objective that came with the truck. You can put that CD in a computer and you get to play with this. You literally get to open and close valves. You get to turn a knob, push a button, see all the different stuff on the governor. You can play with that on the computer. You get to be pretty damn good at it without even touching the truck. But I want to show you how easy it is on your pressure preset. Okay, in your preset, along you have battery and ignition on. If I push, there's RPM mode. It won't even let me go to pressure mode right now because the pump is not engaged. Okay, but if I push and hold the preset button, now I can dial the preset to what I want. When I get what I want, let go, that's the new preset. Okay, and that's in that learning objective as well. Okay. Everything's green, which means good. If you get an alarm, whatever's causing the alarm is going to turn red, and it'll light up down here and tell you what's going on. When you have an alarm that isn't really a showstopper, we can silence the alarm, sort of. Every 45 seconds it'll chirp just to let you know it's still there. If another hard alarm activates, it'll override the silence feature and give you another alarm. Okay, turn this ignition off here. But as far as the foam system, I'll get the pickup tube here in a little bit, put some more foam in, but I want to show as far as the pickup point here, the 2 valves that we move up, rotate up. There's a decal here that tells you the fill position. If both levers are up, that's where your foam's going, up to your tank. If this one is up and that one's down, you're sending foam out the door. So you're going from bucket out to your hose in a draft mode. If they're both down, the foam is coming down from your foam tank and you're making foam out the door. Okay. If you leave this handle in the up position as an example, you forgot to put it back, you can have a red light right there. On a traffic light, what does red mean? Stop. That's pretty much what that means. You ain't doing nothing. You've got a valve position error. What is it you're wanting to do right now? Well, according to that, I'm trying to make foam at 0.3. So I need to reach in here. Oop. Light's gone. Okay. So if you make a mistake, somebody in the previous group said, oh, it's fireman proof. I said, no, it's fireman resistant. Nothing's fireman proof. We try. NFPA keeps telling us to keep trying, but sadly, people in the past that got hurt or injured or killed is why things are the way they are on trucks today. Foam level, water level. This is battery and ignition. This is battery. Strong recommendation. One guy in the previous group couldn't have said it any better. He said, is it okay? I still always go up on top of the truck and I look in to make sure. I said, that's perfect. That's what you should be doing. Sometimes these lie to you. There's nothing more embarrassing than a fireman and a fire truck show up on a scene and you don't got water. Oh my God. It said we were full. Yeah, right. Good idea to check. You guys do apparatus checks probably on a daily basis, but if it gets into raising the cab, checking engine vitals everywhere, how often are you doing that? Once a week?
Every morning. Daily.
Every day? You raise the cab every day? Wow, okay. I hear daily, I hear weekly, sometimes in volunteer departments it's monthly. But in any event, look in your tanks. Make sure they're full like you think they are. Okay. Up on top, the Husky 3 little oil reservoir, it's labeled. It says hydraulic oil only. Refer to operation and maintenance manual for correct grade of oil. They don't consume oil. It ain't like, oh God, we got to add this all the time. You simply take the dipstick when it's not running, take it out, check it. Somewhere between the 2 marks, you're good to go. It's a very clear, almost looks like water, very clear oil. The manual says you don't have to change that oil every year. What we recommend is once a year. Wipe the area down so you don't get no dirt in it. Take the dipstick out. Take a little oil analysis kit. It's got a little syringe. You pull some oil out, put it in a bottle, label it, you send it in. That would be your shop doing that, not necessarily the end users at the station, but you do an oil analysis, it comes back. You want to stop sending us new oil, please? There's nothing wrong with it. You'd probably go 5 to 10 years before there would be an issue where you'd have to change oil. And in the book, they show, here's the part number for the filter, here's the grade of oil, ISO 68 hydraulic oil. That's what you do. So as far as doing an oil change, I don't think you're doing it at this level. But as far as actually checking the oil, you should be doing that periodically. Okay, so whatever your apparatus checks are now, just add that to it. Okay. The foam tank drain, yes, I got bit. These trays, you can push that lock. These trays will pull out this way or they'll pull out that way, so repacking hose can be done right out here. Lift the trays up, put them back in. Interesting enough, we walk around the truck right now, those drains are open. Those drains are closed. I made an assumption this morning that the foam tank drain was closed. When we started pumping foam into the foam tank, drain ain't closed. So we had to pull the thing out and reach in and close the drain. We do purposely put that behind the scene, out of sight, so people don't accidentally open that and drain their tank on the ground. Okay. Your foam, the Phos-Check, is premium quality. It's probably about $20 a gallon. Okay, so we don't typically want someone to dump it on the ground. As far as, I can show you where that is in a minute here, we walk around, but foam in, the pickup tube right now is currently in that rear compartment. Normally right up where that ladder goes up the back, there's a little door there and it was laying in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so once the tank is full, once the truck gets put into service, I want to be careful here because it's not my position to tell you you're going to use foam. I can simply repeat what I was told that they want you to use foam. You might draft, but these do work very well. That video we saw on the side there, the very first Trident air primers had just one discharge port. These have 3. Actually, myself getting involved with engineering, when I found out that they make 1, 2, and 3 barrel, I just told engineering, make them all 3 barrel. There's such a minimal cost difference, but to the end user, that's huge. Does anybody have any questions at the pump panel here? Go ahead.
I didn't see an engine cooler or a pump cooler on the panel there, is there?
What you have to keep a pump cool anytime you put the pump in gear, as an example, tank valve, recirc. That's going to keep your pump cool.
Yeah.
As far as an engine cooler, there isn't one here that you open and close. It's live on this. There's the engine itself, the hot coolant goes through a heat exchanger that's in the intake side of your water pump.
Okay.
So that coolant is getting heat pulled out of it with the water in the intake side. Yeah, you can't turn it off. It's live.
Okay.
Yep.
Whether or not it's a pump.
That is correct. Yep. If you're driving down the road, there's coolant flowing through that. Yeah. So if you were going to go on a 1,000-mile trip, the water in your pump would probably get hot. But I don't think you guys are doing that. Okay. When they came out here from Wisconsin, there was no water in the pump, so it wouldn't have heated anything up. It had just been going through the heat exchanger. Air, I suppose, in the pump might have got warmed up, but highly doubtful. Okay. See if there's anything else I want to cover on this side. Oh, the electric valves for the other side and your front intake. Okay. Right now it's 0% open, 11% open.
And those are the presets, like all the other. What are
Yeah.
they set at?
Whatever you want to set them at. There's a book that came with the truck for these Acron controllers that would tell you how to set your presets. Some people want them at 25, some want them at 50%. Some people default them to 100% open. So just one button, boom, you don't have to sit and hold the button, it's just fully open. It's up to the department, but literature does come with the truck for that. I covered this, override, use it if you need it, otherwise don't. Okay. Back here, you guys said you were on top, but I'll still show you. One thing I'd like to point out, you're gonna go up on top of the truck, unlock this. We had to put these labels on here, watch it, pinpoint, unlock it, pull it out, like that. When you go to unlock it, lift gently, and then bring it down with your hand. Don't let it free fall. If it does free fall and that catches you in the kneecap, let me tell you what, it hurts really bad as it continues down. What happened to me at Pierce, I had some guys on top of the truck, which we're about fixing to do. One guy came down, he thought everybody was off, and somebody stepped on the ladder. Ah, damn it. Pinch point, watch your hands. We had to put a sticker on there. NFPA said, if you can possibly pinch your hand, you got to put a sticker there. I'm like, really? Okay, fine. As far as going up on top, water level, foam level, oil level in the Husky 3. So it, wash them off and they look like that. Like, holy crap, this is some good soap. The flip side of that is, you get that on your hands, you don't really do anything with it. They dry, your hands feel a little bit tight, no big deal, right? I'm telling you guys this for a reason, because I learned the hard way. When lunch comes and you grab a sandwich or a piece of pizza and you devour it, that trace evidence of soap on your hands is the most powerful laxative you're ever going to come across. Okay? No. Just giving you a heads up. And when my buddy told me that, the next day I said, why the hell didn't you tell me that first? He says, you'll remember it this way. Okay, so I did find out working on a truck that had a frozen and busted pump, which you ain't gonna have to worry about, but in any event, this performs a little differently than Johnson's baby shampoo. If you get it in your eyes, it stings. Okay, wash it out with water. Where could you find information about this particular foam? Right on the pail there's going to be a 1-800 number. There'll be a website. NFPA says if you have this stuff, regardless of which brand or type of foam, you should have an MSDS sheet. You should have product information. You should know what this is. Earlier in the classroom I told you that one of the best things they ever did with this was had it UL tested on hydrocarbons like gasoline and diesel, and it passed at 0.25%, which you cannot dial 0.25. You can go 0.2 or 0.3. So they would tell you use this at 0.3 and damn near everything you're going to do, with the exception of if it's fuel in depth or if it's polar solvent fuel like alcohol. This will not work on that. You would need to have alcohol resistant foam. With this system, you could do a 1% or a 3% class B. You cannot do a 6%. So like a 3x6, there is no 6% setting on here. Okay, right now we are set up, battery is on, we've got this all set up. If I want to do foam tank fill, I simply need to rotate this handle up, rotate this one up. Currently I have a red light because I have not selected foam tank fill. There's fill.
See you guys, thanks.
See you, Mark.
Take care. Turn it on. And we're pumping at 3 gallons a minute into our foam tank with the drain closed. Okay. And all you have to do is watch. When the one bucket gets low, tip it on an angle, get the last little bit out of it, pull it out, go right into the next bucket. Okay? What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to stop this.
What did you just hit there?
On off button. Right now I'm going to go to 0.3. Turn that back. That's closed. That's normal mode. Let somebody else ask questions if you got them, but go ahead and move the valves, select, look for fill. And one point I want to point out to you real quick,
Feels the increase. Yeah.
increase. Yep. One thing that you do
Okay.
not do is don't turn the system on first
You gotta go
before
to-
you go look for fill, because you won't find it.
You gotta. Oh, go
You
down.
cannot fill the tank and fight the fire at the same time.
Hold
Therefore,
in.
if you turn it on and look for
3
fill, you
seconds
won't
and
find
then
it. You have to select fill, then turn it on.
That's what manual.
Using the increase
just
or
fill right
decrease
there.
button,
And
go
then the
up
green
or
button
down
now
will
should
get
be
you
good.
Now
there.
the green.
Now that you got fill selected, is your
On.
red light out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn it on. Using the green button, and there you go. You're filling your tank. So if a couple of you want to just take turns and get a feel for that, and then let's get these 2 buckets put in there.
Good job.
Yesterday morning when I left home, it was -5.
That's the increase.
On Saturday morning when I woke up, it was -20.